Hey Mena Warriors, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about how testosterone might be affecting your midlife weight gain. I'm going to explain the role that testosterone plays in a woman's body, and you'll be quite surprised, I think, with some of the facts that I share today, and also incorporate ways of helping to modulate the changes that happen through menopause, perimenopause, relating to those declining hormones. However, the vast majority of us refer to estrogen and progesterone as the main hormones that we need to focus on while we're going through the perimenopause and beyond. Testosterone actually plays a very important role. So today I'm going to be explaining how that contributes or can contribute to increased weight gain, particularly around the middle, how it might be negatively impacting your drive and your motivation for life, your libido, and I hope you're going to find it helpful. So welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate. I share a video with you every Monday around something related to menopause. Last week, I couldn't make a video. We had terrible storms here and we had our power cut, and unfortunately I was not able to get a video out in time. I couldn't even just press the live button. So apologies for the gap last week, but hopefully this will help to make up for it. So during the perimenopausal years, that is when our hormones are fluctuating wildly. And you may find that you've been going through your perimenopausal years. That can last up to 10 years. That really is when the worst fluctuations are happening. So that's when your symptoms are likely to be most severe, but without changing anything at all. So you're still exercising the same, you're still eating the same amount of food, and all of a sudden you're starting to notice this weight gain creeping up, probably predominantly around the midriff. Women on average gain around 22 pounds during those perimenopausal years into postmenopause. Progesterone and estrogen tend to fall more rapidly. Testosterone, which is a really, really important sex hormone, in actual fact, in our younger years, we create 3 to 4 times the amount of testosterone than we do estrogen or progesterone. We tend to think of it as a male hormone, but it's actually the precursor. There are different ways of us creating testosterone. It can be made in our adrenal glands, it can be made in our ovaries, but also we make it from another steroid called androstenedione, and then that turns into testosterone, and then that testosterone turns into estradiol, which is like the most common form of estrogen. That's the most potent and active form of estrogen. There are actually 3 types of estrogen, but estradiol is the main one that we talk about. Well, we actually need testosterone in order to create that estrogen. And while we do create more testosterone than we do any of our other sex hormones, we have around 10 to 20 times the lesser amount than men do. And you may consider testosterone therapy if you are struggling with libido, if you're struggling with weight gain, if you're lacking motivation. However, that is not always the right way to go about it. You would really need to get specialist help to make sure that if you're going to have testosterone therapy, that it is actually going to be right for you. Because often testosterone therapy, as I'm going to explain today, can contribute to belly fat. And there are other ways that you can actually make sure that you're sort of ticking as many boxes as possible, so that you may not actually need to go and get testosterone therapy. Yeah, some people can get it measured. You can get especially once you're sort of out of those perimenopausal years, you can have a baseline test done and you can see where your various hormone ratios are at. So it's not a definitive number. It's where the ratio of your progesterone, your estrogen, and your testosterone is. That is what is most important. But some women, they'll test and they'll have 0 testosterone. So they may actually benefit from testosterone therapy, but it is a very individualized process. So don't assume that, oh, my libido's tanked, I'm going to go and get testosterone therapy and all of a sudden life is going to be, roses and champagne. It's not necessarily as simple as that. To give you a brief metaphor to help you better understand the role of these sex hormones as we go through perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone are a bit like the lead singers in a band, and testosterone is like the ever faithful drummer in the background. And the 3 of them are incredibly important. They all play very, very vital roles. So as for instance, when progesterone is falling, progesterone tends to fall the most, and that's the one you're likely to notice the most decline in the earlier years in perimenopause. That's when your periods might be becoming more erratic. Progesterone tends to be our calming hormone. So if you're getting irritable and you have those mood swings, you might have more of a disposition to anxiety or a reduced resilience to stress. That is likely the progesterone that's causing that. Estrogen, as that falls, that tends to increase our cortisol levels, which is one of our stress hormones, and it also increases our insulin levels, which are our fat storing hormone, as well as testosterone. So testosterone doesn't fall quite as fast. And you'll notice in men, when they gain weight, they tend to put weight on around the middle. They don't tend to get fat legs. When we are younger, we may carry more fat around our thighs, around our bums. And then as we go through perimenopause and beyond, our thighs and bums become skinnier and it all of a sudden appears around the middle. So we've got these varying factors that are contributing to weight gain. So you've got the fact that the estrogen is increasing cortisol. We often call like a fat belly a cortisol belly, because it is a cortisol reaction. Cortisol, we have 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors around our belly than we do in any other part of the body. So when our stress levels are going up, which tends to happen naturally as we go through the menopause, that is one of the contributory factors to that belly fat gain. The other factor to bear in mind is the fact that we still have a relative amount ratio of testosterone. And testosterone does tend, again, like you see in men, to deposit weight around the middle. On top of that, as you're going through perimenopause and beyond, with the falling hormones and the erratic hormones, you might be finding with the falling progesterone in particular, that your sleep is negatively impacted and your resilience to stress is more impacted. So, you wake up in the early hours and you might have that pounding chest, you might have the heart palpitations, you might just be feeling antsy and not really understanding why, you might get twitchy legs. All of these things can contribute to the weight gain. When we sleep poorly, it affects our satiety hormones. So it means that you're feeling more hungry than you would otherwise do. And it affects, so that's ghrelin, sort of the hunger hormone. And then leptin is the hormone that tells you that you've eaten enough, that you don't need any more to eat. So you have less leptin when you've slept badly, and you have more ghrelin. So essentially you're thinking you're hungrier than you are, and you're not registering that you've eaten enough early enough. Your brain is also in survival mode. So it wants all the fast carbs. It doesn't really care how you get it. It could be the chocolate croissant, it could be the slice of cake, it could be the mince pie, depending on what time of year you're at. It's anything that's fast and quick. But of course, that is not good for your belly fat. It's not good for your chemical balance in your body. Calories are not created equal. I'm not going to go into that in any great detail today, but when you're eating things like processed foods and refined carbs, it sets up a really negative reaction in your body. So on the days when you know you're going to sleep badly, or it might be a matter of your life at the moment, it's been one of my things for like years. Not necessarily, I mean, I don't take HRT, and I would not consider taking HRT just for my own reasons. I don't have any major issues that would say, no, you can't take HRT, but I just chosen not to. But my sleep is pants, largely because the last 18 months have just been awful in my life. They've been really, really stressful. And I've also got 3 dogs, I've got 3 cats, and the cats in particular, they're all old and they keep me awake at night. And really, I should just boot them out of the bedroom. I just can't bring myself to do it because they're all old and decrepit and they're probably not going to be around that long. And I just feel that they sort of need that company. So thank goodness I'm single. It's probably still why I am single. And I've become the mad cat woman. But my sleep is rubbish. So as well as a technique that you really ought to be doing every single day is aiming to eat enough protein. When you know that you're going to sleep badly, or if you're going out to a party or you've got something on that night, you're going to be back late, make sure that you're prioritizing your protein early in the day, the next day, because it's going to help curb those cravings. It will really help you make the healthier decisions for your body. If you're doing exercise, and you ought to be doing, I also recommend you, no matter how tired you are, even if you've got like a blinding hangover, for those of us that still drink, ideally don't drink so much that you've got a blinding hangover, but let's be real, it happens. If you've got a blinding hangover, don't do a cardio workout. Cardio is actually going to contribute to belly fat in any case, because again, it can spike that stress hormone. But do some gentle strength training. It will also help reduce those sugar cravings, and it will just set you up mentally and physically better for the day ahead. So all these things are contributing to the increased belly fat. So poor sleep, falling hormones, falling calming hormones, the fact that your cortisol levels are naturally higher because of your falling estrogen, which makes your fat storing hormones higher, and your testosterone is probably relatively higher compared to your estrogen and your progesterone, and testosterone makes you tend to hang on to fat around the middle. All of these things are contributing to it. So what can you do to help prevent that happen? Number one, prioritize strength training, because that naturally helps to stabilize your hormones. It will help to build lean muscle. When you contract your muscles, you release little things called myokines, and they're little proteins, and myokines support your mental health and your physical health. Also, when you are contracting your muscles, they're directly taking glucose out of the bloodstream. So while most of us tend to be less insulin sensitive as we get older, we want to be insulin sensitive, but as we get older, go through menopause, we tend to lose some of that sensitivity. We also lose our ability to metabolize protein as effectively as we used to do as well. So that's one of the reasons why protein is really, really important. But every time your muscles are contracting, as well as secreting these myokines, they're directly taking glucose out of your bloodstream. So that improves that insulin sensitivity, which is going to help reduce that belly fat. Protein, you need ideally to, it really depends on how often you're strength training. I strength train 5 times a week, generally on average. And I aim to eat around about 140 grams of lean protein a day. That is actually quite hard to do. If you look on the websites and it will say, oh, you need about sort of 60 grams of lean protein a day, that is the bare minimum so that you don't end up with major health issues. As a woman going through the perimenopause or beyond, so you're postmenopausal, we need to focus on protein. Protein is so, so, so important for us to keep our bones strong, to keep our muscles strong, to keep you fired up. You want to be aiming for your ideal body weight in pounds, measure it in pounds, and for every pound of ideal body weight, so say you want to weigh 140 pounds, you want to be aiming to eat around 130 to 140 grams of lean protein, and that's pretty hard to achieve unless you really work at it. You really need to be strength training and supporting your cellular renewal, your structure with protein, because protein is the building block of life. It's not just about muscles. It's our collagen. It helps support our elastin. Protein is so important. And when you're eating enough protein, it means that you can build more lean muscle, which keeps your metabolism fired up. And by you doing strength training, coming back to that, you're going to help manage the amount of testosterone in your body. Next is managing your sleep and stress levels. That will also have a positive impact on the ratio of testosterone in your body. So even if you're like me and you sleep badly, it's quite erratic, make sure you get to bed as early as you can, so that even if you're waking up several times during the night, over the course of the night, you've had a reasonable amount of sleep. We tend to sleep in 90-minute cycles. We go through the different sleep waves. And so long as you're getting enough of those sort of 90-minute cycles in, that's probably going to be enough for you. So don't think, oh my gosh, I wake up 5 times through the night or 3 times through the night. If you're managing a few of those 90-minute cycles, which means essentially you're going through all the phases of sleep that you need to, actually that's not a big deal. It doesn't matter too much. And that's the way I look at it, because I could wake up and say, oh my God, I was like awake 7 times last night. But I might have been awake 7 times last night, but I probably got quite a few of those 90-minute cycles in. So just focus on looking at it as positively as you can and getting to bed as early as you can, and good sleep management. So avoid caffeine later on in the day, avoid too much alcohol, avoid sugary foods, try not to eat too late, turn off your screens before bed. Just have a nighttime routine where the lights go dimmer, noises are less. A cool room is really important for you to have good quality sleep, but a nice warm bed. You don't want to be cold in bed, but you do want a cool room, so you've got cool air around you. That will also help. And also, incidentally, take something like a magnesium complex or magnesium glycinate to help you sleep better. A lot of people like magnesium glycinate. I personally found the complex more effective to help me with sleep. I also normally have a sleepy tea. So it's just a herbal tea. It might just be chamomile and it might be a proper sleep easy blend. And I normally have that before I go to bed as well. You could also have an Epsom salt bath before bed because that again is magnesium and magnesium helps to calm you. You might want to consider taking something like ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen herb. I've been looking into adaptogen herbs in so much detail recently. I'm actually going to do a video on just specifically around individual adaptogen herbs and which you should take when and why. Because I used to take a blend, which I no longer have access to. And so I'm trying to source the adaptogen herbs that I want to use. So I'm really diving into the ones to take in the morning, the ones to take in the evening, the ones that you might want to take just before you do a workout, etc. But ashwagandha is pretty much, it's going to tick a lot of your boxes as far as helping to calm you. The great thing about adaptogen herbs is that they help you regulate your cortisol levels. So in the case of adrenal fatigue, for instance, when your body's not able to create enough cortisol, because cortisol in a healthy amount is really important for us, but in adrenal fatigue, your body's struggling to secrete enough. You know, you've pushed it so far, it's kind of like it's breaking down. Well, that makes the secretion of your cortisol, the ashwagandha, helps your body to secrete cortisol more effectively. But in the case of the vast majority of us, our cortisol levels are too high, and it helps to bring that cortisol level down. So ashwagandha is a really great adaptogen herb you might want to consider looking at for helping you get a better night's sleep. Obviously, gut health. I mean, I refer to gut health pretty much every week because it is just so foundational to hormone balance and just our ability to live well. So make sure you're eating a wide range of fruits and vegetables. You've got your lean, healthy protein. You need your healthy fats. Do not go fat-free when you're menopausal. Cholesterol is the precursor to all our sex hormones. You do not want to go fat-free. Go sugar-free, but not fat-free. Healthy fats are really important for us. Avoid the trans fats, avoid the processed foods, but things like your avocado oil, good quality olive oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, all these things are going to be healthy sources of fat, and eat a wide range of nuts and seeds as well. They give you sort of trace minerals that are really important for you. So make sure that you're using fats well and cut out the sugars rather than the fats. The reason, apart from the fact that vegetables and fruits are full of antioxidants and life-giving vitamins and minerals, is the fact that they also contain fiber. And fiber is really important for the health of our gut microbiome. The fiber is what is known as the prebiotic, which feeds the healthy bacteria, which is known as the probiotic in your body. If you can incorporate a few fermented foods into your daily diet, what you eat during the day, that's going to help as well. So things like kombucha, it's like a lovely drink. I make kombucha at home here. Kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, those sorts of things. Those are going to help to support your gut health. And gut health is just so important in the modulation, the regulation of your hormones, how you just express in life, your energy levels. People always say to me, you've got so much energy. How do you have so much energy? It's just like, well, I don't really take anything. I just eat food like a human. I try and sleep as well as I can. I think mindset has a big thing to do about it. I see very much myself as a solution finder, and shit hits the fan big time. And yes, it makes me wake up in the early hours worrying as well. I'm not immune to any of that. But when you have got the right kind of gut health and you're eating lots of protein and you're strength training, you're doing the things that you need to do in order to support a healthy lifestyle, you'll manage the belly fat better. You'll feel energized. You won't need to rely on the sort of the other things to help to support you. I don't take a magnesium supplement any longer. Do I take any supplements at all? Oh, I take my vitamin D3 and K2 every day because we're not getting much outdoor daylight right now. We're not getting much ultraviolet light at the moment. Even on days when I'm working outside all day long, I do a lot of work in the garden and fixing things. And even on those days, I have my vitamin D3 because vitamin D3 will help you sleep better. It helps you feel happier. It supports your immune system. Incidentally, 70% of your immune system is around your gut as well. So a great book if you wanted to learn more about gut health. In fact, I'm running a book club in March around this particular book. If you wanted to join my free group, there's a link to join in the description below. We're actually focusing on adrenal health. through February. So if you wanted to join and be part of that, you're more than welcome. You will need to answer the questions to get in. I don't let anybody in unless you answer the questions at the beginning, because there's so many weirdos out there. I want it to be a safe space, and I do remove inactive members as well, because we're a very engaged community, and I'd much rather have a small community that's active and supportive rather than these large bloated groups. So if you join and then you think it's really not for me, there'll be no love lost. Just remove yourself again. That's absolutely fine, but you might find it helpful. So if you wanted to come and join us in there, like I say, adrenal health this month, then the book club. But the book that I would recommend that you have a look at is Supergut. I'll link it in the description box below as well. And then I've got a couple of reports that you might want to look at if you're not able to have HRT and you wanted to have HRT. Testosterone is shown in a lot of studies now to be even more effective than tamoxifen in the treatment against breast cancer. So if you've got the BRCA gene, you might want to, and you were looking for extra support, it might be that you want to dive into some of those articles and just have a look at them and see if it's something that you think would suit you, and maybe then talk to your healthcare provider about that. But like I said at the beginning, do not just think, oh, testosterone is going to fix your libido, it's going to fix your weight gain. It's not necessarily at all. It really depends on that ratio of your estrogen, progesterone, your testosterone, and also other implications in your life. So don't see it as a quick fix. If you take testosterone, it might contribute to weight gain, particularly around the middle. And vast majority of women that I speak to want to get rid of that belly fat. But just know that there is so much that you can do. It really is about sort of taking things as a lifestyle and thinking, okay, what can I start to incorporate? Have more of the fermented foods, eat more vegetables and fruits, eat healthy protein, cut out the processed foods, cut out or reduce your refined sugars. While we see them as treats, they're not really. They're not doing you any good at all. And, please don't get me wrong. I love my glasses of red wine. If I really wanted my halo to shine, I'd cut out all alcohol. And I know there are very strong opinions on whether you should or shouldn't drink alcohol. It's absolutely fine. Everybody can have their opinion. I love my red wine, and I normally have 1 or 2 glasses pretty much every night. I'm 54, no HRT. I'm pretty happy with my shape, and that is with somebody with very erratic sleep. I do strength train around 5 times a week, but it is largely down to just treating your body like the human it is. And in an ideal world, I would have more time out for myself. So stress management, so maybe even try meditation. I'm terrible at meditation, but just have more things, maybe knitting. I want to start my knitting again. I want to be more creative. I dowse. I want to get out with my dowsing rods and do more of that. But at the moment, my life is very fraught, and I have not got the capacity to add that to it at the moment. By doing that, it would become even more stressful. So I have a goal, and once I've reached that goal, then I'm going to back it off a bit, because there are phases in your life where it is going to be hellish. It's going to be busy. That is how life goes. It's the ebbs and flows. It's rare that you have, like, every day of your life is smooth and calm and beautiful. It can be absolutely crazy, and sometimes you feel like you're just hanging on with your fingertips, and your nails are coming off, and it can be horrendous. And I completely understand that, because I've been there. I'm kind of still there at the minute. I haven't got through that phase yet. There are so many like fears and going on in my head at the moment, and I sort of I'm battling them as much as anyone else. And in a way, the reason I'm sharing that with you is the fact that when you look after your body and your mind as well as you can, it does support you in getting through these really difficult times in your life. So never ever feel like you're helpless, you're hopeless, that you've got to give up. There is so much that you can do. And if you just want somebody to chat to, either join my group or just message me. I know it's a bit sterile on YouTube. It's hard. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram as often as I used to be at the moment. I have to rethink how I'm going to do all that as well. But I'm at Kate Hartley UK, so you can always send me a private message on there, and then we can connect a bit further. I'm here to help. I love helping women get over their issues. I'm a psychotherapist. I've been a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist for over 17 years now. I've run a very successful business. I'm a Reiki healer. I've worked in hospice a lot. There's a lot of stuff that I hope I might be able to help you with. And obviously the main body of women that I work with right now is menopausal women wanting to balance their menopause symptoms, their hormones naturally. And I mean, if you take HRT and you want to take HRT, lifestyle changes are still going to support you so much. HRT is not a cure-all as well. It's a bit like the testosterone. I think people say, oh, I'm going to feel brilliant. It doesn't always work like that. You still need to support your lifestyle. It's even with like the weight loss drugs at the moment. You still need, while it might suppress your appetite, you still need to make sure you're eating healthy food. You still cannot choose the cake over the healthy stuff. So everything that you take still needs you to support your body like it is the human that it is. And that can take time, and it can be a little bit arduous. It can be a bit like, oh, I really don't, I just want to let my hair down and have some fun. But you don't feel like that for long, because once you start to feed your body like a human being, like the human being that it is, all of a sudden you don't really crave the other stuff. And you just feel so revitalized and refreshed and energized and more resilient to life's challenges that why the heck would you ever go back on that stuff again? Not necessarily the treatments, but why would you go back on that food, that drink that's not serving you? So I hope this has been helpful. Check out the links below if you want to have a look more at the testosterone versus the tamoxifen. There's also a couple of books and references that I've added there below as well, and also the gut health one. The link to join my free group is there if you'd like to join us. And I look forward to chatting with you next week. If there's anything you'd like me to include in a future episode, just drop me a message. I'll add it to my rotation. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you've not yet done so, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss future episodes. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for your company.